Hi, welcome to the Nail Ladies Show. I am Andrea, nail lady and owner of a chain of nail salons here in the DC metropolitan area. And with me is my dear friend,
Cheetah. I own a bunch of really cool hardware stores, also in the District of Columbia, Maryland, surrounding areas, and like to chat business with Andrea.
because, we are into nails of different kinds. All right,
funny.
today the topic is marketing. Marketing and small business and winning without a Super Bowl ad. Is it possible to win without a Super Bowl ad? We're here to discuss it. The answer, spoiler alert,
Is
it
yes.
is.
Is yes.
Is yes.
Yeah. All right. How do you do it?
How do you do it? Let's start with you, madame.
Yeah. So we've had episodes where we've talked, or we will talk about Main Street marketing, Main Street businesses, the importance of it. I like to call it hand-to-hand combat. I want people to walk through our doors, and I want to wow them, and I want them to want to come back because we have what we need, what they need, and we're nice. And if we don't have what they need, we'll figure out a way to get what they need.
Love it.
So that's sort of the basic philosophy at its most simple. But truly, the way that we market, our biggest budget is events. So we host a lot of events. We host annual garden party events. We host ladies' nights events, which are really, really successful. So I'm not exaggerating when I say that one of my tiny stores can have 350 women come to a ladies' night.
Okay, so let's just, for a second, because for those of you watching and going, wait, did she just say a ladies' night event at a hardware store? She did.
She did.
She did. So can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about what that even means?
Yeah. So we started this event actually at a store of ours that failed. We were trying to do everything to help the community find us. And so we hosted a ladies' night. That ladies' night was wildly successful. It did not change the trajectory of the store. That store still failed. However, it made us realize the power of community and bringing people in to our store. So there's a woman named Judy Wicks who years ago owned a restaurant in Philadelphia called the White Dog Cafe. And in her book, Good Morning Beautiful Business, which is what she would say every morning when she woke up and went to her restaurant, she said that she treated her dining room like her living room, and she invited the community in as if they were coming into her home to have dinner. And so we've taken that philosophy, inviting the community in to what we consider our living room. So in ladies' nights events, we involve a lot of the community. We invite other locally owned businesses, particularly if they're women, female owned. We have some of our big vendors come in. In fact, two of our most successful vendors at our ladies' nights are the Power Tool team, which come in from one of our big Power Tool brands. They only send their female sales reps.
Love that.
Which is very cool. We have lots of men who participate in ladies' nights, but overall, in general, it's fun.
It's a good place to meet
Right.
ladies
Well,
also.
yeah, we've had a little bit of that happen,
a
actually.
little bit of matchmaking, it sounds like.
Yes. And then the plant people that who come help transplant plants, talk about plants, sell plants. Those are the two most successful. But we provide discounts. We have raffles. There's a charitable component, so there's a donation opportunity. We have some giveaways. We have vendors that come in. We have food and drinks where we can source them locally. And it's just really fun.
I love that. I love this notion of making people know you by having sort of a little party, and then that essentially turns them on and converts them into regular customers.
Yes, yeah, and we have what we call ladies' night groupies. They'll go from one community to the next community when they know a ladies' night's coming because they grab a girlfriend, maybe one who happens to live in that community where the current party is, and they come and they get a discount and they learn something and have a few nibbles and leave, hopefully having been a fan or becoming a bigger fan of the hardware store.
It's interesting because I think that a lot of marketing, what it tries to do is it tries to introduce you to an audience, right, that doesn't know you. And I think a hardware store, not to get too sort of into gender tropes here, but I do think that a hardware store is not traditionally a place where gals go hang out.
Yep.
And I do think that it is an interesting way to reach women who don't typically go to hardware stores to say, come in, this could be fun, this could be non-intimidating, and we're going to make it really like special for you, and then sort of almost break the seal that people then can come back to. We do a lot of events at the nail salon too, but I think the biggest way that we market our business is really through word-to-word marketing and mouth-to-mouth. I mean, is it mouth-to-mouth marketing?
It's mouth-to-mouth, yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I think it's like sometimes because I'm Brazilian, I have
Oh,
language.
you're making an excuse.
I make that excuse a lot. So for those of you who don't know, English is not my first language. I kind of ride that one out a lot, even though I learned to speak English at age 3.
Oh my God, I love it.
But I do use that to sort of excuse my sometimes poor syntax. But you know, we do try to get people to talk about us without really asking them to talk about us.
Yep.
By wowing them, right? I think I've said this in another episode, which is people don't talk to other people about their brands because they like your brand. They talk to their friends about your brand because they like you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that we try to build a lot, is the sense of community. And I think getting people to speak about us to their friends, because we're also a very social place. The nail salon was built to have people come and get their nails together with a friend.
Yep.
Or a partner or a family member, so that you can enjoy some pamper time with somebody else. I mean, that's kind of the ethos of our business, even though people are, of course, welcome to come by themselves. And sometimes they've even called the nail salon the new golf course where deals are struck.
Nice.
And you see a lot of women kind of chatting and exchanging business cards and so forth. I think that one of the best ways for people to hear about your business is through the power of testimony from somebody they know and like. So if their friend tells you, oh, you've got it. When you hear friends saying, you've got to try this new restaurant, you've got to try this new, bar, you've got to go to this class, that's the best marketing that a business.
Go.
So if you treat your customers with great care, with the intention that they are going to love your business and become fans of your business, it is very likely that they will become one of the 7 touch points later when they talk about your business at a dinner party with a friend later.
Great point.
But I think a lot of business owners, when they first start out, there's this kind of trope of the first thing you do is you make a logo, you get a business card, and now you're in business, right? And you buy a website, and all of a sudden you have a business. I think a lot of people mistake how much money they have to spend on marketing when they first start out. So I'd love for you to give our viewers and listeners some advice about what you think are effective marketing strategies for the long haul that really, marketing can be vanity and you can just be out there to be out there. But if you're not getting a return on your investment of marketing, that's not really a strategy, in my opinion.
It's not. And we have so many options now with social media that make it easier. One of the most successful social media campaigns that we've ever had, too, actually. First, if an employee is involved, if it doesn't look like it's coming from corporate. So if I have a couple, I have a lot of incredible cashiers. And if they film something in an aisle talking about a product, it is so well received in social media by all of the people who are following the stores. I mean, let's face it, following a hardware store on any social, it's not sexy.
Following a nail salon is also about
why are you
sexy,
doing it?
Not very.
You want to see what colors people are wearing, or you want to see what trends
But I think people
want
to see also, they want to engage with a real human. I think that's
what
we always see.
Yeah. The other thing that has really worked for us, and this is a little silly, I don't know how this would work for anybody else, to be honest. Several of our stores have store cats. And our store cats are considered employees.
I am feeling so many ways about this right now. Carry on. This is derailed.
They have more fans than the stores themselves. Like, their own social media pages have more fans than the stores themselves. So if we want to talk about fun stuff, we say that Benjamin, the cat at one of our locations, is going to be at Ladies' Night. And then it is like. I mean, it is nuts. We had a cat get lost years ago at one of our stores. 30,000 shares, likes, and comments
on the lost
lost cat. So we have figured out a way to not talk about hardware on social media that really resonates, and it's free. It doesn't cost us a dime. Well, obviously we take care of the cats. We rescue all of them, and then we take care of them. And they're the mousers. They also save us money because we don't have to pay for exterminators in the stores where we have cats. And so it's a win-win for the cat. It's a win-win for our marketing.
I feel like cat lady memes coming in really strong right now. So we're going to pivot. So let's talk about, so where do people traditionally think they have to spend money? Because I know that back in the day when we opened, it was like, are you going to run an ad in the local
Washington Post?
It's like, what? An ad? Yeah. I mean, and again,
I'm
I don't think that that's where people get any return running an ad on a newspaper or even in an online newspaper. So how do we find strategies to get the word out about people and bring them into the fold?
Well, I mean, having a strong newsletter, I think, helps. Building up your own database. We have a really strong loyalty program with thousands of members who are part of our loyalty program. And if we have their email address, we can send them an email. And that email might be coupons. It might be birthday cards. It might be newsletters. And so I think this is what you're getting at, but there are ways to market to your customers without having a TV budget, without having a radio budget, any of those things that don't cost a lot. And there's also collaborative ways. Like you and I have done this actually. We were part of one of your opening marketing events, right? You hid something at one of my stores.
I did. We had a golden ticket for a year of free Manny's in one of her locations, and we gave people clues, and we had people running around town searching for the golden ticket.
And so
that was a year ago.
That was a way for us to talk about each other's businesses without really spending whatever you spent on the value of the golden ticket, right? So we share, I've said in other episodes that we're a member of a cooperative. We share a marketing budget, annual marketing budget with other members of the Ace Hardware Cooperative to put us on TV, because that budget becomes much bigger than little old Gina Schaefer's hardware stores. It is the 5,000 Ace Hardware stores nationally pulling their resources to put us on TV. So that's the big way. Think about who else you can collaborate. One of the other things that we did, a little like the golden ticket, which is why I really love programs like that, when one of our stores was turning 100 years old,
Gina, you look so young.
I know, right? It's great skin routine. We asked other local businesses if they would collaborate with us in really interesting ways. So we had a local ice cream shop that named an ice cream after us, a flavor. We had a local brewery that named a beer after us. We had a local chocolate maker that named a chocolate after us. And all of that was temporary. It was, I don't even know if it was for the full month that we celebrated, but we could then tell people about the brewery. That brewery had a flavor of beer named after us. And so we could say to our customers, go to that brewery, drink that beer, and it gave us an opportunity to talk about a local business and our anniversary and the local community and not spend any money. It does not get any better than that.
It's funny. I think that people really enjoy seeing collaborations out in the world. And I think the world is becoming, it gives me a little bit of faith in humanity that we like to see. We see it all the time. You see it on Twitter. You see it on Twitter and you see it on X.
We're aging ourselves.
You see it on X and on TikTok of brands talking to each other. The airports talking to each other. Remember when the Commanders were winning?
Yes.
And an airport in Florida said, good morning to everybody except for, the Washington Commanders or something like that. People love to see that sort of jovial, joking spirit between brands, and they kind of take on a personality and a life. And we love to collaborate with with neighbors, with influencers that come through and they want to talk about the nail salon. And in a way, it's a little bit like guerrilla marketing, right? I do love that you said that's kind of like mano a mano combat because you do. I think there's a couple of things that make that up. One is authenticity. I think people want to hear the real voice and not this perfectly polished, curated sort of shot of like a hammer and with sunlight hitting it. Like people want to see. Exactly. They want to see that. They want to see some guy in an aisle. The video might be a little bit fuzzy. It's not perfect, but it's real, right? And I think there's so much opportunity out there and there's so much content out there for people to have their attention be taken elsewhere that people, I think, gravitate to that which is real. And we try to have a very real, authentic voice with our clients. And we talk to people very honestly, whether it's a communication about back in the COVID days about why we're still keeping the mask mandate on. And we told people, look, we hate this too. And we were speaking in a very natural voice that I think really makes people feel like that they become a part of you. We call this the nail salons.
Your familia.
The familia.
Yeah,
we call it the familia, right? Which is the Portuguese language word for family. But we really believe it. And we treat people like it's their saloon. And on our team's T-shirts, it says, this is your saloon. And it really is. We like people to feel at home, kind of to what you were saying about the woman who used to say good morning business and make the dining room the living room. We treat people like the nail salon is theirs because it ultimately is, right? And we want them to feel at home. So you will see clients walk in and they're practically going in the back to put their groceries in the fridge while they get a manicure because they just walked out of the grocery store and they're going to get a manicure before they go home. But they treat it like it's theirs. Like they know the process. They walk in, they wash their hands, they pick their color, they say hello. And so I think that is a result of constantly repeating a message, but in an authentic way.
Yes.
That reaches people where they are. And you're right. You can do it nowadays with social media for, sure, you can pay somebody to do influencer videos for you and things that are a little bit more curated. But there really isn't a need, I think, for businesses to market with these massive, no shade to big advertisers. Who doesn't love a Super Bowl ad?
Right.
I watch them.
Right.
But I think for small business, they're really clever ways to reach your audiences in new and innovative ways that bring people into the fold and also start a conversation. I'd love to know from you if you have any stories of times where you've done a campaign or done a newsletter or after Ladies Night that somebody then reached out and told you that they were doing so as a result of that campaign.
Yeah, well, yes. We have had other people in our hardware network that have started parties and events because of us. We have a collaboration right now with a local food incubator. We've expanded one of our stores and put in a barbecue grilling shop with a lot of barbecue sauces, which we had only sold a smattering of prior. But a local food incubator asked if we would sell some of their makers' barbecue sauces. So that was a result of us expanding this barbecue shop. Mm-hmm. That gives us a chance to support local. It gives us a chance to barbecue on the sidewalk and use a local product, have a story to tell. I think we're going to talk about storytelling. And it builds. If I could give any advice to anybody listening, I would say grab a friend or a confidant or somebody that you trust and just have a crazy brainstorming session about how you can collaborate in marketing opportunities with anybody in your surrounding area. It could be you, for example, could go to a car dealership and say, these are the hot colors right now. Do they jive with what's cool with your cars? And right? Ace Hardware did something years ago with OPI, and it was the paint colors. OPI wanted to brand paint. We sell a ton of paint. Nobody at Ace Hardware in a million years would have originally thought of partnering with a nail polish color.
Of course not.
But when you sit around and brainstorm, and you have to try things, not everything's going to work. I'm sure we've had dozens of failed campaigns or social media posts that nobody has liked. But you have to keep trying.
I think it's also about the drumbeat, right? Of keeping on reminding people of why you're there and of sort of this push and pull dynamic where you're informing people that you're there, you're reminding people that you're there. Newsletters were something that I really used to say, we're not doing a newsletter. And my director of marketing kept saying, we need to do a newsletter. And I'm like, who wants to read a newsletter from a nail salon? And she said, if you give me 3 months to do 3 newsletters, and I will show you with an open rate that people do want to hear. And it's not that they want to hear from a nail salon, but sometimes it's the little bright spot in their inbox that is otherwise filled with complicated news and things that they need to be doing. So they take a little break and
it's bright and sunny and fun.
They click on an email from the nail salon. It says we're opening in Fiji. It's an April Fool's Day joke. People actually thought we were going to Fiji. So here's a good example of something that flopped. People are like, you're opening in. I'm getting congrats texts from friends.
I immediately was like, why is she not going to Brazil
and I'm like,
first?
Fiji. People, it is April 1st. Do you? So there's a good example of campaigns that flop. It
didn't though, because people noticed.
Well, people did notice.
I read it.
Yeah, except for all of my congratulatory emails that I got from actual friends that were like, congrats on Fiji. And I'm like, are you for real right now? So anyway, but you do, it reminds people that you're there, right? Even if it doesn't work, it can work in a certain way. Tell me a little bit about word to word, mouth to mouth marketing. Mouth to mouth, we said it. Mouth to mouth is breathing. When you try to bring the marketing to life through mouth to mouth,
Fala Português.
Sorry, guys, we're off the rails here today. We are off the rails. Word to word. Is it word to word?
Hand to hand combat.
Whatever.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Boca boca. You know what it is, guys? No, for real. We're having a language moment here. Boca boca.
Is it boca a boca? It's mouth to mouth.
Yeah, when you say Portuguese. Mouth to mouth, and it doesn't mean boca boca. Respiração boca boca is the breathing.
Right.
Boca boca is like you.
It all makes sense now.
We're going to pretend that
your craziness all makes sense now.
Carry on. So when you word to mouth, tell me about why it works.
I think the statistic is still people have to see something about your brand or read about you seven times.
This is actually true. Right? 7 touch points.
7 touch points before they're going to buy from you really delve into what your service is, et cetera. And oftentimes, and I think women in particular are very guilty of this, we think, oh, I've said it once, that's enough.
No.
I can't talk
anymore.
Say it
again. Yeah.
You have to be willing. Years ago, an old business owner said to me, he called me a shameless self-promoter. And I remember in that moment thinking, if I don't promote my business, who the hell is going to promote my business, right? And that doesn't mean that I am shamelessly self-promoting Gina Schaefer. That means I'm talking about my amazing team, the 25,000 great products that we sell, the solutions that we have to, help fix your home. Those are the 7 points that people need to hear. Yeah. That's the kind of promotion that we need to talk about and talk about and talk about. I'm building a public speaking career now. Nobody knows that Gina Schaefer is a speaker. Like, who the hell do I think I am?
They do now.
Well,
they do now.
But I just snuck that in there, right?
Right.
People won't know that unless you tell them.
Yeah, it's true.
There are so many opportunities. Let's just bring it back to collaborative marketing. So many opportunities to help other businesses in your market.
Yep.
If you think about how it's collaborative or what they might need, or if they're willing to say to you, hey, I could use some shelf space for my barbecue sauce. I've got shelf space. Now, that's not going to work all the time.
No.
But when it does, try it.
Yeah. I think that for us, we've learned, for example, that when we partner with smaller brands, now that we're a little bit bigger, it's easier to bring up a smaller brand.
Right.
In the beginning, when we were small and somebody else was small, collaborating made not a lot of sense. So if you're a small business and you're just starting out, one piece of advice I would give you that I would be willing to bet on is that try to partner with a bigger brand, because bigger brands sometimes want to give the shelf to barbecue, to a barbecue sauce to come in. But if you're both small, it's going to be tricky for you to both, almost like the smaller brand has to anchor on into the larger brand. So for us now, we consider ourselves a medium-sized brand. Yep. So people come to us and we'd love to give, pop-up spaces for different groups to come in and sell their wares at the nail salon. But at the beginning, when we did that and nobody really knew us or them, it was a flop, right? So we would try to go to the bigger locations and do, pop-ups with Bloomingdale's at the time that's invited us, and Neiman Marcus, and we, come and do big brand events, because for them it was kind of cute and kitsch to work with this local small business, right? So tell me about storytelling. I think storytelling has become a buzzword.
Yeah.
But I think people understand why it works. And I'd love to hear from you why you think it's important for people to know the story behind a brand and the story behind a store.
Well, I could go back to the cat story, because those were stories that we tell that are very important. But there's a much bigger story, I think, for my business that I would love to just shamelessly promote. In 2014, one of my teammates came to me and he said, the community has started calling this store, this was Logan Hardware, my original location, Recovery Hardware. And that was because we were very close to a very prominent recovery clinic, drug and alcohol recovery clinic in that neighborhood. And we had hired a lot of people in that recovery program. So he came to me and he said, the community has started calling us Recovery Hardware. I am not lying. I sobbed. I thought, because you can't give yourself a nickname. The most beautiful thing that could happen for a business is that you're given some kind of nickname, or something about your name is riffed. Like, that store is in Logan Circle and people say, I'm going to Logan's. Like, we are their hardware store, and you can't, as an owner, make that happen. And so Recovery Hardware was born, became the title of a book that I wrote, only because I wanted to tell the stories of the amazing people that worked with us. And so I wanted to talk about someone who had come home from prison and had made a big difference. I wanted to talk about Eddie, who I hired as a 14-year-old. No one in Eddie's family had ever had a job. One of our core values is be a good neighbor. I asked him what it meant to be a good neighbor, and he lit up. Prior to that, he was scared to death of me. I was a boss with 7 heads. I wanted to tell that story. And so storytelling became a way for us to talk about our meaning in all of the communities that we're in without talking about us.
Yeah.
Right? So I was telling Skippy's story, who was a drug dealer that we hired, or I was telling John's story, who moved to Baltimore to open our first Baltimore location. I wasn't talking about, Gina Schaefer decided that she was going to open a store in Baltimore.
Right, because that's not really a story.
It's not a story. Yeah, no, and I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the community, and I really want it to be about the people that are helping us build in those communities. And so, get a little misty, like just even thinking about it, how important that was to me.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole episode, I think, on your book, because I'd like to actually interview you on that, because there's so many beautiful, beautiful stories that come of it. And I'd love for our audience to hear a little bit more about it specifically. I think the power of story is for us. It's been game changing, I think. If I always say this, if you're at a restaurant and the owner of the restaurant walks by and somebody says, "Oh, there's the owner," I think most people are like, "Oh, who's the owner? What's their story? Why did they decide to open this restaurant?" And it has nothing to do with the food you're eating. It has nothing to do with the service you're getting, but you're just kind of curious about why this restaurant, why Italian food, why this location, why these uniforms, why this decoration. And people want to know more about the thing that they are consuming. I don't think people are, in the same way that a lot of people want to align themselves to the values of a brand and what that brand stands for out in the world. And we're seeing that a lot right now. And even though that comes with cancel culture and all these other things that for good or for bad, exist, I think people are curious about the behind the scenes of an organization, of a brand, of something that they consume. So we try to be very front and center and very transparent about who we are, how we work, the things that we do, the team that's with us. We post about our team members on social media. We when we do volunteer events, we tell the community, we ask people to join us on volunteering events. We share stories. We just sent nail technicians to New York for a learning trip, and we posted about that. People, I think, love to hear the behind the scenes of how things work, because I think it connects to them beyond the actual product or service that you're selling. So for us, it's been a game changer. And so for any business owner thinking about telling the story of their business, I would say, think about why you decided to do this. Think about the why. And there's a great book by Simon Sinek, which is Start with the Why. Yeah. And really think about what it is that you're trying to do, what it is that you're trying to change, and tell that story. People are willing to hear it, and you'd be surprised, even about a nail salon or a hardware store.
Well, I mean, the chick that owns the hardware store, how unusual is that? People, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but people wanted to talk about it. We're going to run out of time, but I do have a question for you, because I feel like you are much better at this than we have ever been.
And today has been such a good example of that.
It is. It's so true.
I'm all over the place.
Give our listeners just a snippet about how to use or take advantage of influencers. Like, how do we... Like, that just seems like such a... Is it just a buzzword? Is it something that can help us?
I would say that reach out to micro influencers. A lot of people are very excited about these, people with millions and millions of followers. And look, if you can get one of the Kardashians to come to your business, I'm sure that's not going to be a bad thing. I'm sure, if you can get like Cristiano Ronaldo to come through, I'm sure that's a good thing. But if you can get micro influencers, just search for hashtags, find out who in your city is a micro influencer, somebody who has 1,000, 2,000 followers on Instagram or on TikTok, who really has an engaged audience, and invite them in for a service, for a tour, and so that they can then authentically review your space, review your services, review what your offering is, and then they're a trusted voice to their audience, right? Because if I'm talking to their audience is like, of course you want to sell me a manicure.
Right.
You're the nail salon. Well, if I can show the influencer what the nail salon is, and they can talk to their audience, it comes from a trusted source. And I think nowadays people really want to connect. It's very tribal. Marketing has gone very tribal. People want to connect to the people that they know and trust. So micro influencers are a great opportunity for business owners to reach out to. They usually won't charge you what a big influencer will charge you. They'll ask for a free service.
Right.
And you can state that, they were invited in for free, or a free item or a discount, and have them speak about you genuinely. I mean, you run the risk of them not saying things you want said about your business, but if they like it, it can be a great win, because they become a vocal ally for your business to an audience that's already built in.
Find other voices to talk about.
Absolutely.
Cats can't talk.
That's the thing. Mouth to mouth. Breath to breath.
Do you want to nail the close for us?
I feel like you should nail the close, because I am failing at this game today. So why don't you take that hammer and nail the close? What is the biggest takeaway of today, other than Duolingo's calling? Know the expression in the language you're speaking.
Probably the biggest takeaway to me is it doesn't have to be expensive. And if you collaborate with somebody else, even if you're just brainstorming with a friend, another local business owner, you can figure out a way to market that is not expensive, that does not require costly ads or marketing agencies, until at which point you get to a stage where you can afford folks like that, you don't have to just sit around and wait for it.
I love it. And that concludes this, thank goodness, this episode of the Nail Ladies Show. Thank you for watching.
Yes. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat. We would love to talk to our listeners.
And we would love to address any questions you have in a further episode. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
The Nail Ladies Show was recorded in Washington, D.C. at Switch and Board Studios. Andrea Vieira and Gina Schaefer are your co-hosts. Meg Farage is executive producer. Salcha Carolan is editor and sound engineer. Hannah Logan is director of brand and marketing. And Georgia Grant Manning is production coordinator.